Hello and welcome to another episode of Come Back Stronger. I'm Jimmy Fasig and this is my law partner Dana Brooks, and we bring you stories from all over the world of people who have overcome adversity, obstacles, and setbacks and have come back stronger.
That's right.
And it's so exciting. Today we have the most incredible story, David Brown. David Brown is he is the fastest blind man in the world. And talk about a comeback story.
Yeah.
What do you think about David Brown, Dana?
We don't have enough time.
It's crazy.
These are good segments. Stay tuned. You're going to want to see it. But I mean, the man has just everything that comes to him. He's like, well, I'm going to turn that around. I'm going to turn that around. And he lost his sight. He was just a normal, functioning, meeting all milestones little boy until he got a year and a half, about 15 months, I guess, and started having problems with the eyes, losing his sight. But he's just adapted everything as he's gone. But when you learn about how he has to run and race and what it is like for him to be an unsighted runner, it's amazing. It was just so educational. I learned everything.
It is so incredible to watch somebody that has overcome such major. This is the type of adversity that people like that. You would think, boy, just give up. Why would I even try? But he has not only faced his adversity, but he has overcome, and he's a shining example for everybody in the entire world to know that if he could do it, I can do it. If he could overcome that challenge, I can overcome this challenge.
Yeah, and he's just gone on to do such big, wonderful things. I can't wait.
Oh boy. Well, so we're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to meet David Brown. Great. Excellent service. 100 times more responsive than other attorneys I've worked with. Highly recommend, especially attorney Kimmy Hogan. She is fabulous.
Yes, she is.
It's all about communication. The number one complaint about lawyers is my lawyer never calls me back. But the number two complaint is my lawyer never calls me and tells me what's happening with my case. That's why I love reading a review like this, because I know, Kimmy, you are really good about calling your clients, letting them know what's happening with the case, keeping them informed every step of the way. Because what you got to remember is that these clients, this is their first case a lot of times. They've never been through this before. They don't know what to expect. Am I doing the right thing? Am I getting the right medical treatment? Am I actually going to get a settlement at the end of the case? So they need that reassurance, and they need to know what the process is every step along the way. Welcome back to Come Back Stronger, where we are introducing you to David Brown, the fastest blind man in the world. You're going to hear his story about how he's overcome his adversity and come back stronger. Take a look.
All right, David Brown, thank you so much for joining us on the Come Back Stronger show today. I'm so excited to have you. I'm all fangirled out, so I know we have a short segment, but thank you for joining us.
No, thank y'all for having me on today.
So very briefly, I just want to introduce you to our audience. You are the world's fastest completely blind runner. You've medaled in multiple Paralympics. You have been, a major competitor on the world championships for the 100 meter and the 200 meter sprint. And apparently I've just learned that you're also a professional soccer player. So I want to talk about all those things because obviously you're completely blind and you have overcome a lot of challenges to be quite an inspiration. Let's get started with how you lost your sight. I know you got glaucoma as a little boy, so tell me about that.
Yeah, so 15 months old, I came down with Kawasaki's disease, actually, which led to glaucoma. So I was born healthy, like, as a typical kid, as healthy as a kid can be. My mom always says that, and I was that kid that almost pulled down actually our Christmas tree, walking around and stuff like that. But 15 months old, she said, all of a sudden I just started crying because, of course, I asked her this, just for situations like this when I'm sharing my story. I'm like, well, what exactly happened?
Right.
What was I doing as a kid? She was like, well, you just started crying and started rubbing your eyes for some reason. And I didn't even know why. So they took me to the hospital, and then they, of course, explained the disease. My mom thought it was a motorcycle disease.
Yeah. So what is Kawasaki's disease? What is that?
So it's an autoimmune disease, actually, that they don't still to this day know how you can catch it. But your white blood cells attack your inner organs of some sort. So it can attack your heart, your kidney, your liver. But for some rare reason in itself, my white blood cells attacked my eyes, and they don't know why.
Okay.
And so that caused, of course, nerve damage. That's glaucoma, and it caused my eye pressure to go up high. I remember as a kid growing up, my eye pressure was as high as 80.
Wow.
You know, and a typical eye pressure is in between 8 and 21. And I lost my left eye when I was 3 due to eye surgery. So I have a prosthetic shell in my left eye.
Okay.
And out of my right eye started decreasing in vision when I was 6. And it left me with little bit like light shape shadows and colors. I have calcium deposits over my right eye, and I can only see out of my peripheral vision. That's where I can see my light shape shadows and colors. So if it looks like I'm looking off to my left, I'm actually looking straight technically, but I'm looking out the right of my eye.
Okay.
Which is weird. It throws off everybody.
Yeah, very interesting. And then you went to the Missouri School for the Blind in St. Louis?
Yeah, I started out in public school at a regular elementary school, but when I was 11 years old, I started attending the Missouri School for the Blind because the middle school that I was actually going to go into in Kansas City, Missouri, wasn't able to provide my needs as a blind and visually impaired individual.
Right.
So I started going to the Missouri School for the Blind, and that's actually when I got involved with sports a lot more because, at the School for the Blind, they were able to offer a lot of adaptive sports such as wrestling, of course, track being one of them, goalball, another totally blind sport, and swimming and forensics.
So I grew up running track and playing soccer, and it is so exhilarating to run as fast as you possibly can. I was a sprinter. I was a hurdler, much like you. And I saw your TikTok video a couple months ago, and I don't know if it was from the World Championships or from Paralympics, but I think you run a sub 14 100 meter, right? So that's the fastest.
11.
Oh, sub 11 100 meter, which is incredible. But can you explain to the audience how it is that you're able to sprint as fast as you can? I know that you have a partner that you sprint with that you're tethered to, right? Can you talk about that?
Compared to how we run at the blind school, so here's something that a lot of people don't understand. At the blind school, I ran on these things called the wires. So I will hold on with the wire with my left hand, and I would just pump my right arm. So pretty much I'm running one arm, and then the other hand is just holding on to the wire. Then how we run in the Paralympics is we run with a guide, and we're running tethered together, as you mentioned. And it's like a 3-legged race. We're tethered together by our fingers. There's a shoestring that's tied around our fingers, or now it's kind of a ribbon. It's manufactured in a factory, so these is regulated for everybody to use. And we're running, synchronizing our steps all the way around the track. And in the classification that I'm in the Paralympics, there's 3 different classes. I have to run with blindfolds on. So I run with blinders over my eyes, and there's also gauze over my eyes to make everybody totally blind.
How does it feel to be the world's fastest man, David? Honestly, you are the world's fastest blind man. I mean, a sub 11, I just want people to understand, a sub 11, compare that to people who run with sight. How fast are they running compared to you?
Well, I am faster than the average. On average, a lot of sighted individuals, they run at least around 12 seconds, 13 seconds, or 11 on average. So, I'm slightly above average as far as how fast we're going. In the totally blind world, of course, I am, the first totally blind athlete under 11 seconds, but I'm one of a few, you can count it on your fingers on how many of us is actually under 11 seconds. And for me, honestly, it's super humbling. And of course, like you, I love speed. So to actually go that fast, it didn't even feel like I was going that fast when I ran that. I was shocked.
Yeah.
That even happened. I was like, wait, I ran that fast? That didn't even feel fast at all.
How do you learn how to do it with your partner?
That's a lot of time and repetition, honestly. And that takes, of course, I will also say patience, a lot of communication on both ends. Of course, my guide communicating with me on where we are on the track, and then I'm communicating with them in the sense of how I adjust my body, how I'm you can feel a lot, honestly, in that tether with somebody's arm swing and stuff. So they can feel, okay, I'm starting to get tired. They can feel, okay, I'm starting to slow down. Or vice versa. I can feel if they're struggling. I can feel if they're struggling, hey, that's a problem. Just want to point that out. But long story short, you can feel a lot in the tether and how somebody is running and how we're going based off of, with that tether between us.
So are there things that you tell yourself in your mind and that you've done as you've been growing up blind to obviously you've faced multiple challenges, right?
Yeah.
What do you tell yourself in your mind to keep yourself going? I can do this. I can run faster. I can get stronger. It doesn't matter that I can't see. What do you tell yourself to become this world-class athlete as a blind man?
Honestly, it started when I was 13 years old at the Missouri School for the Blind. So I was in a very dark place. And when I say dark, like, it was to the point I didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
And I knew I was in this state of mind that was very hard to come out of. And I threw myself into sport, wrestling being my primary sport at that time. I threw myself into that to be able to push through those barriers and break down those walls. And not only was I able to, take those things that you just mentioned, not saying like, oh, I'm a world-class athlete, I'm a totally blind dude. It was actually, one of those things that was keeping me down was because of the fact that I was blind. And it was hard because I knew at that point, that's when my vision stabilized, that my sight was not coming back. And I was depressed about that. But I, did wrestling, and I used my opponent and that resistance as motivation to be like, you know what? Life isn't easy. And sometimes things are going to push at you or try to knock you down. But are you going to allow that to stop you? No. You're bigger than this. You're stronger than this. You're better than this. Come on, Dave. Get yourself up and get going. And then at the same time, I love the grind. So in the middle of some of my hardest workouts, my coach even says still to this day, like, you're just a super freak, Dave, because I'm smiling and I'm laughing and I'm like, you know what? This sucks. I love it.
Well, Dave, we got to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk about some of your successes. I want to talk about soccer. I want to talk about, I think you and your wife have a foundation, right, that you've got going.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about how you're giving back. But let's take a break real quick and we'll be right back.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing guy.
Yeah.
Life is just going to knock you down and try to knock you down, but you're bigger than this.
Yeah. Yeah, and his pivotal moment, it sounds like, was when he was 13, and it seems like somebody maybe removed hope from him about his sight returning. And that's whenever someone takes away your hope, that's why they say the best thing you could do when you're counseling and working with people is the installation of hope. So, when that's removed and you think you're at your darkest day and everything, he just said, no, you're not. This is not you. You're not like this. He speaks your language.
Speaks my language, because he said, I'm going to push through, and he decided to throw himself into sports. And so that's one of the greatest things you can do if you're going through major challenges, is define a purpose for yourself. And that's exactly what he did. I love it. Anyway, we're going to go to a commercial. We're going to come back. The second part is even better than the first part. Can't wait for it.
This is about Carrie. It says, there's not enough space, nor could I find enough words to articulate my experience with Fasig Brooks. Working closely with Carrie and Brittany has literally changed my life. Not only did they handle my case as if they were standing up for their own immediate family, we became like family. I've never felt alone in the process. I never felt like just another case, and the encouragement on the harder days would always lift me up. Absolutely everyone in the firm exudes a compassion for the cases they handle and a real passion to empower the lives of individuals and families far beyond a settlement. They are strong, resilient, will leave no rock unturned. I absolutely love Fasig Brooks.
I love that. I mean, I just have no words to explain how grateful I am that somebody feels like that about us.
Welcome back to Come Back Stronger, where we're talking to David Brown, who is the world's fastest blind man, and he's talking about how he has had this adversity, overcome the adversity. He's facing challenges, multiple challenges. You're going to hear more about it coming up right now.
So I want you to do a humble brag, and I want you to tell everybody what medals you've won in the Paralympics and how you've done in the World Championships. And what events?
Well, I guess starting at the top, I am a gold medalist from Rio de Janeiro, was the Paralympic record holder at that time with a time of 10:99. I got gold in Rio. I broke 2 world records in 2014, time of 10:92, first time under 11 seconds. I'm the first totally blind athlete under 11 seconds. And I also hold still to this day the world record in the 200 meters with a time of 22:41, working on breaking that record this year. World Championships, I have a silver medal in the 400 meters. I also have a silver medal in the 4x1 relay from 2013. And I lost count of how many golds, honestly. And I'm not trying to say that to brag.
Awesome. That's awesome.
I did lose count of how many golds I have at World Championships, as well as Pan American relays. I have multiple gold medals as well. I went 5 years undefeated on the international circuit, and yeah.
So, Dave, through all the successes that you've had, are you still fighting challenges? You mentioned earlier that you were in a very dark place when you were 13 and your vision stabilized. So I guess what I'm asking is, now at this point where you are in your life with all these medals and all these records, do you still suffer? Are you still facing challenges that you have to overcome?
As far as mental challenges, I feel like that's just something that any athlete or anybody has to overcome every day. So of course I'm always facing that motivation to get up and get moving. Like I haven't even done my workout yet today. I have to get up and do something after this. And it's like, I just got comfortable. So having to overcome that. But as far as like any other kind of challenges, being more specific, yes, I have to face a challenge like last year going into Tokyo. Well, I won't even say last year, but just going into Tokyo, you could say whenever, the person watched this, going into Tokyo, I had to face a challenge of now I have to choose a new guide, or I have to choose the same guide that I've been running with for the past X amount of years, so that was hard right there. I have to face, of course, training with new guides. I have to face life. I just got married in 2021. So it's like, okay, now adding that on top of it. So yeah, there is still challenges and things that I face every day. But of course, taking it stride by stride.
And so congratulations on being a newlywed. But yes, marriage will bring a whole host of new challenges for you. Is your wife sighted or is she also blind?
She is sighted, actually. I met her at the training center where we both lived and trained at for a period of time.
Oh, she's an athlete as well?
Yeah.
Okay. What does she do as an athlete?
She does archery. She's a Olympic hopeful, actually.
Okay. And you and your wife started a foundation or a business. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so the business is Team Dr. Brown LLC, and we focus on, our brand is Faith, Fun, Fitness, and Food, but our side of it is we focus on jump rope fitness and boosting athletic abilities through the power of jump rope. So during quarantine / COVID times in 2020, when things were shutting down, I picked up a jump rope in order to stay physically fit, as well as my wife did. She's now my wife, but back then my girlfriend. I got her into jump rope fitness as well. We both got super fit, and stayed really in good condition going through 2020 to where when I got into my 2021 season, is like I didn't even miss a beat. I was ready to go. My coach was like, yeah, Dave, you look good. You're feeling good. And you're training good. Like things were going great. And that was through, like I said, just the business with this and help others, boost their quality of life and physical fitness through this tool.
Yeah, so not a lot of people know about jump rope, except, when you're a kid, you jump rope for fun, or maybe if you're a boxer, you jump rope for a fitness workout. What is it about jump rope that you think will be advantageous for people in their maybe their mental health or their physical health?
Yeah, so I would say, I'd like to point out that me and my wife, we are certified jump rope trainers. That's one thing that a lot of people don't understand either. Like as you mentioned, that's something that goes under the radar. People just think, oh yeah, I just do jump rope just as a kid. And it's I mentioned that to one of my friends. I was like, yeah, me and my wife are certified in jump rope. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, that's a thing? I'm like, yeah, it is a thing. And honestly, I had the same response when I learned about it. I was like, oh, there's a certification process? Like, what? Okay, like there is so much science behind this that a lot of people don't understand. As far as it helping out, as we say, boosting quality of life, of course, we do plyometric movements every day. We walking, that's a plyometric movement. So this can help with your balance, it can help with your coordination, and then of course physical fitness activity like that, getting that blood circulating, it can help boost the cognitive functions. Actually, crazy enough, me and my wife were about to actually release a video called the ABCs of jump rope. So it's ABC. What does agility, balance, coordination, B, dynamic trunk control? So we're going through the ABCs of what jump rope can help with anybody.
That's so fascinating. How can people find you, Dave? Like what are your social media handles? Can you give us a little bit of information on that?
Yeah, so of course, that video that I just mentioned, actually, we're posting that on our YouTube page, which is Team DR Brown. So you can find us there. So Team DR Brown is our YouTube as well as our Instagram, and my own personal Instagram where I do my fun videos and stuff of that nature is That Boy D Brown. And then I also have a Facebook page, which is U.S. Paralympic athlete David Brown.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm going to go friend you after this interview is done on all your platforms. So one last question, and then we have to end this interview, unfortunately. But there's a lot of people, that are facing challenges or hurdles, and it seems like it's too big to overcome. They're hurting. Maybe they've lost their job or they've been injured in an accident, something like that. What would you tell them to inspire them to fight through it, so that they can turn their pain into purpose?
Yeah. One thing I like to tell everybody, a lot of people, they hide their emotions. Personally, when I learned that I was going blind, or even still to this day, I embrace those emotions. And when I say embrace it, of course, you do everything in a controlled fashion. I'm not saying go and get buck wild, but there's those kind of settings where I turned to athletics. I was able to turn to the, wrestling at that point in time. And I wasn't doing it in the sense of now here I am, I'm just going to go crazy and start throwing blows and stuff. No, within the realms of, okay, I know what I'm allowed to do, what I'm not allowed to do. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I started embracing that, and I embraced those emotions, and I utilized that as a tool to help get me through it. I encourage anybody, if you are facing those dark times, embrace it, and embrace it in a way that you can actually express yourself. Some people do it through dance. Some people do it through me, like still to this day, I do it through jump rope. So utilizing these different things, like I said, to be able to express yourself and get those emotions out, that's how you can get through that. And then, of course, just taking the next steps that is necessary in order to get to the next point, whether that be, okay, I'm upset about I don't have a job, express yourself. And then now that I'm done with that, what's the next step? Now I can just go online, I can start looking, or whatever it is, that it is needing to be done.
Sounds like it's like a take the bull by the horns mentality.
Exactly.
And I think what people don't realize about exercise and about sports and athletics is that sometimes what you need to feel better mentally is you need the endorphins, you need the adrenaline, and that's what athletics provide. So if you're feeling down or you're facing challenges and you go out and walk, you're going to get the dopamine, you're going to get the adrenaline, and that's going to help you feel better. And you're going to have a better day, or you're going to be able to think about how to overcome your pain or overcome your challenges.
It gives that clear mind.
Dave, this has been an incredible interview. I've been honored to meet you, and thank you so much for giving us your time and your energy and your effort. And I hope this video reaches so many people and helps them. Thank you again.
I don't know about you, Dana, but I am Team Dr. Brown.
Yes.
Whoa. So one of the most powerful things that he said that I think is awesome is embrace, when you're going through the challenges, embrace the emotions.
Yeah.
The emotions are what gets you moving. They motivate you to get moving, to change your circumstances. It's when you get depressed and you get and you stop moving, it's because you are not facing your emotions. You're not allowing them to surface, and you're just pushing them down and pushing them down.
And then the negativity feeds on itself. Because
Yes.
then you get down on yourself because you're not facing it. You're not being the best version of yourself. And then that just makes you say, well, the heck with it. And you just, it's a cycle. So I'm just kudos to him for recognizing that and pulling himself up. But I still can't get over the fact that he runs with somebody tied to his finger.
Oh, that's
They are
crazy.
synchronized runners. Get your head around that for just a second.
Imagine how
This man's
scary.
incredible.
Imagine how scary it would
can't
be.
see anything.
He's going 25 miles an hour
What?
running. If
What
if
if
he
this guy
trips, he
hits
could
a
really
rock?
get hurt.
Ugh.
Anyway, we got to go to a commercial break, but we're going to come back because we got a lot more to talk
Yeah.
about.
Tony, Jimmy, and Kelly took what was a scary and horrible experience and turned it into a positive situation. Once these three jumped on our team, we were able to leave the legal part of the process to them and concentrate on our healing. You will always come back stronger with Fasig Brooks on your side. The insurance company made us go 1 month before trial until they finally paid the money they were supposed to a year earlier.
Not
Well, the
uncommon.
reason why they paid the money is because they knew we were ready, willing, and able to go to trial. Insurance companies aren't paying out of the kindness of their hearts. They're paying now because they think if they don't pay now, they may have to pay more later, right? And so we showed them that we had the evidence together, we had our witnesses set up, we had the doctors, their depositions were already scheduled, and they knew we were going to go to trial, and that's when they finally became reasonable. That happens all the time. Welcome back to Come Back Stronger, where we just heard the interviews, 2 interviews with David Brown. This guy, he is the fastest blind man in the world.
Yeah.
Fastest blind man in the world, but not only that, plays soccer. He's got a jump rope business, Team Dr. Brown. The guy is insane. Dana, what was your biggest takeaway?
For me, it's discipline. To me, that seems to be the one thing that what we see in the people who are on this show so much of the time is they have the discipline to do the things that are tough and
To
hard.
pull himself up and say, I'm bigger than this, I'm better than this, I can do this. That's what it's all about. That's a real comeback story. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a great story. Come join us next week for another story of somebody who's overcome adversity and come back stronger.